Hi guys. Soon I'm just popping on. Probably won't be a massively long chat tonight, as Sue is busy knitting.
There is a story to this. This isn't just random knitting. I am a knitaholic, but I foolishly have, you know, when you say yes to things and then you think, which is a good thing. And it's a good thing to say yes to things. And I've made a point of saying yes more. But the bad side is it does get you into a bit of shit sometimes, excuse my language. So I have to knit a jumper in a week. I've got till Thursday because I'm a standby on a television programme. No! Which also means I've got to lose about a stone in 3 days. So I'm knitting, sneak preview, guys, a Christmas jumper. It's got a fluffy bottom. Well, it will have when I finish the fluff. It will have sleeves eventually, but I've got till Thursday to finish it. And I probably won't get the call to say I'm on the show anyway, but I'll have a nice jumper. So that'll be all right, won't it?
Bonus.
Bonus, yes.
Just anyway, maybe when you keep saying yes to everything, maybe just pull it back a little bit.
Well, I said, yeah. This is what I get. But then again, saying yes can sometimes lead to the most amazing opportunities. Like us talking here. And the Copying for Creatives was simply hell yeah, let's just do this. and then you kind of reality sets in and you think, oh yeah, it's quite tricky really, isn't it? And there's a lot to do actually. But the best businesses are formed like that, aren't they? So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So do say yes to things. Just be aware that you will probably have to follow through and knit a jumper in a week. But I can
you've got a comment on your jumper, Sue. So
have I?
From Lisa.
I can't see the comments. Oh yes, I can. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Right, should we crack on?
Yes, sorry.
While you knit.
Yeah.
Right. So last week's theme was kind of all around sort of how you compare yourself to your competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at your ideal customer. So we're going to have a quick recap on that one, because obviously it's important to obviously look at your competitors. We know that, but obviously as our post, I think it was on Tuesday, don't just focus on your cheapest competitor. And this is what a lot of people do tend to do. So you need to look at the cheapest, the most expensive, and then one in the middle, and see where you fit on that line.
Yeah. And this is a mindset thing, and it's totally down to, I don't know, where you are in your life at the moment, because I know with a lot of businesses are struggling and you have this kind of scarcity mindset. And I know I still have it, to be fair. I really struggle with it because I've been so tight for so long because I haven't had any abundance there. That the first thing you do is think, oh God, how can I make my products cheaper? In fact, I had a really long discussion with my darling husband today because he told me to stop giving away my profit because I have, as you know, these art kits, and I donate part of the proceeds to charities that I support because I can't afford to support them. So I thought, well, if I build it into my pricing, building it into pricing, people hear that, then I can donate. However, I then thought, I really want to pay the photographer who's given me the reference photo more than we agreed, even though she's delighted, she's happy. But I want to do more for her. And it's just like, I've really got to you've got to look after yourself before you can look after other people. And that was a huge digression. But basically, it's scarcity mindset. You tend to look at things that you can afford. So if you're on an Eco Drive or you're on the Happy Shopper beans as opposed to Heinz at the moment, we've all been there, nothing wrong with Happy Shopper beans, quite like them personally. You'll be comparing yourself to things that you would buy, and you're pricing your artwork or whatever at a price that you wouldn't necessarily pay for. And that's a really awkward place to be in. But your customer isn't you. Your customer is over in Waitrose shopping your fresh. I should not have started that question because I was thinking, what's really expensive and fresh at the moment? And then all of a sudden can't think. I was thinking asparagus, but no, wrong season. Anyway, they're in Waitrose. They're not in Aldi. So stop the mindset. You've got to give yourself a breath. And if you start looking at those people that are targeting your Waitrose market, you will probably find your quality is as good, if not better. So you need to really look at where you sit in the quality and ignore the price for the time being. As long, obviously you've got to make a profit, which is why you've got to know your numbers, which is why we're, you know, educating, and that kind of makes you think, oh, I've got to charge more than I am charging, because, you know, you've got to charge your time, you've got to do all the rest of it. So
yeah, and one thing as well is you obviously are your own worst enemy.
Oh yeah.
We can all
Totally
get into that one. So obviously get other people, your friends, your family, sort of, you know, try and get them to be honest with you. I know friends and family will always big you up and say, oh yeah, you're the best in the world and everything. You need them to be honest, and sort of just get them to say, well, what do you think? You know, where would you put me? You've got 3 competitors, for instance.
Yes.
Where would you put my products on this scale? And you'll probably be pleasantly surprised where they would actually put you.
I was going to say, don't necessarily show the price on that either. Just look at the work and say, where would they put me? Because friends and, like you say, friends and family are fabulous, unless you've got, I was going to say, sometimes you can have a critical member of the family who can be quite harsh sometimes, but from a good place. But you do need to be careful of people who are always going to say what you want to hear. So you've got to be really careful when people are actually, not careful, careful's the wrong word. Be aware when people compliment you, because it's very easy to dismiss that and park it when actually they really mean it, and you're being quite rude by dismissing them. You need to say thank you and write it down somewhere, because that then validates that you're better than you think you are.
Yeah, exactly. And you are better than you think you are. Everybody is.
Yeah.
You know, there's loads of different ways you can compare yourself. Like you said, you can look at the quality, the price.
Yeah.
You know, but you also need to be aware that even if you are looking at the cheapest and you want to place yourself somewhere between the cheapest and the mid-range competitor, you need to be aware that their costs and everything are going to be completely different as well.
Absolutely.
So although you might be happy with selling at that price, you might actually not be making a profit at that price.
No. Whereas they might be buying in different places, buying in bulk. Their profit margins may well be a lot more than yours, and they may be, because they're cheaper, they might be going for more of the mass market and selling lots of at a smaller margin. And if you're not selling the lots of, your margin is just small.
Absolutely. And one thing as well is, you know, if you've got a Facebook page and you've got reviews activated on it, is try and get customers to leave reviews. So if you've got a product that you have a brand ambassador for, because I know we've got a few clothing people within the group, or anything that you could possibly have a brand ambassador for, do it. But make sure that any product that they buy, they're taking photographs, they're giving you a review for it. That's what they're there to do. So, you know, if you do have brand ambassadors, make sure you use them.
Yes.
You know,
and not just on Facebook either. Google is brilliant. So you can leave if you have Google My Business, which is well worth looking into and getting, I hasten to add.
And you don't have to have your address showing if you don't want to.
No, you don't. I need to alter mine. But you can do that, and it's really useful, because when people leave a review on Google My Review, you will come up higher in Google searches. So I had a customer found me just by Googling local artists. So, and that was because Google had put me higher up the list because I'd had a review.
Yeah, exactly. So it is making just making things. I'm just trying to read the comments. We've had a
comment, and I think that's really good.
Yeah, I'm just going to read it out. I don't know who it is, because it just says Facebook user at our end. So whoever's commented, it just says, my favourite saying is, if someone charges £10 and they get 10 customers, they'll get £100. But if someone charges £20 and only gets 5 customers, both are earning £100, but one is working twice as hard.
Absolutely.
Which is so true.
That's absolutely so true. And I did the same when I started out doing portraits, and I was selling them at 30 quid a painting, and I was run off my feet and barely covering everything. And now I charge, and I add a zero. Yeah. I have way less commissions, but that's because I then have time to do other things which I really want to do as well. I get more time to spend on the commissions, and I'm earning more.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a win-win situation.
Which kind of brings us round to, I think the post on Wednesday was, do you actually know who your ideal customer is?
Yeah.
Sue, you know exactly who your ideal customer is.
Well, that's the thing. You've got to know who your ideal customer is for each product or service that you offer. And that's key too. And you've got to market yourself to those people. And it's like my art boxes are specifically for, do you know, I had her named last time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yes. But let's call her Linda this week. Linda is mid-40s, very similar age to myself, funny enough, except I'm just shy of 50, but just mid-40s. And she has more time on her hands because her kids are now much more independent. She's a Waitrose shopper because she's been mindful of her money during her working life, other than myself. And she's quite arty. She enjoys art. She messes around with coloured pencils and watercolour, but she'd really like to have a go on pastels. Now, Linda's quite discerning. She doesn't want to buy cheap student pastels. She wants to, you know, see exactly what the medium can do. So she is my ideal customer. Also, my ideal customer is her husband or her children who want to buy her a discerning Christmas gift or birthday present without breaking the bank, or as a supplementary present to her main present, let's say, because her main present would obviously be, I don't know, some beautiful hearts on fire diamonds earrings, which would be wonderful. But her mid present would be an art kit. And she is my ideal customer. So I talk to Linda.
There you go. So yeah, knowing the right customer.
To my pet portrait customer is called Marjorie. Marjorie has a dog. She doesn't have children, but she loves her dog, absolutely adores him. Light of her life. Unfortunately, recently passed away, and she's only got a few snaps of him. And she loves this one picture of him. It's wonderful. But the next door neighbour is in the background, clearing leaves. It's not pretty. So she wants a portrait of her beloved dog, Rex, to put on her wall as a memoriam without the neighbour in the background. So she is my other customer, and I talk directly to her.
So Linda and Marjorie.
Linda and Marjorie.
My ideal customers don't have names. Not yet, anyway. I think you named one when we were chatting at some point.
George, I believe we have. It's the thing is, if you name someone, then it's a single person. It's not a general demographic. Because if you find yourself marketing to a general demographic, it's not as relatable as talking to that one person. Because although the person you're talking to is completely fictional, there'll be 100 people who will totally relate to George.
Yes. Well, we'll give it a go. So George is we'll say in his mid-40s maybe, getting a bit fed up at work, and has recently set himself up on his own little business. But he wants to do it right from the start. You know, none of this messing around. He wants to make sure everything's right, all the correct boxes are ticked, and it's all done. So he's looking for a package that can do everything. So he wants, setting up a self-assessment. He wants bookkeeping done on a monthly basis, and he wants to know exactly where he stands. He wants to know exactly where he stands every month, so he can put money aside in case he has a tax bill at the end of the year. So that is George.
George is very sensible. You should do more.
Very sensible, absolutely. That's probably why it's called George.
It is.
But for all fun aside, is knowing your ideal customer is really, really important, and it's one of those exercises that it's looking at your products and saying, right, well, who do I want it to appeal to?
Yeah,
and like Sue's done, and give them a name. male, female, you know, what age group do they fit into? Are they employed, you know, retired, whatever? And it just gives you a focus to kind of where to kind of aim your products at. Obviously, you're going to be appealing to more people than just that sole one person. A lot of people will fall into those.
Absolutely. And if you've got that one person in your mind, then you can start figuring out, well, where does Marjorie hang out? Where does Linda hang out? What groups are they in? Where are they looking for things to do? Are they looking on Etsy for inspiration? Are they looking more on notonthehighstreet.com because they want something a bit unique? Are they in the Kennel Club Facebook group? And it's looking at that sort of thing. But when you've got an individual person, it's much easier to figure out where they hang out than if you're looking at a general. I look at arty individuals aged between 20 and 60.
Yeah.
Where do you start?
Exactly. So I mean, your ideal customer, for instance, will at least give you a base of where to start. So if you do, for instance, use Facebook ads, you can use your ideal customer as your,
not by name necessarily, though.
No, not necessarily by name. That might shorten your prospects quite considerably. But you can look at the age graphic, the demographics and everything, and use that as a base for your advertising. Yeah. So then you're more likely to hit the people that you want your customers. So if you haven't ever done the exercise of sort of who your ideal customer is, just give it a go.
It's quite interesting. I know that I've been on lots of sort of these internet challengey things where you've got to find your ideal customer, and the first time I did it, I found it really difficult to pin it down. I'm like, anybody who loves art and anybody who has a pet, they're all my customers. And you're thinking, well, actually, are they? Because if you love art, you might not like animal art. You might not like pastels. It's that sort of you've got to really narrow it down. Otherwise, it's just hard. It's hard doing that initial narrowing down. But trust me,
I've done the exercise a few times.
Yeah, I was going to say with practice,
it does take practice. And it is really difficult because you want to be able to appeal to everybody.
Yes.
But you're not going to appeal to everybody. And I think it's getting into that mindset is just,
Yeah, and that goes back to the money thing as well, because you want to try and make everybody happy. So you want to be the cheapest so that everybody will love you. Well, no, because some people, especially if you're aiming at that higher market, they're not going to buy anything from someone who prices their work really cheaply, because they'll see that as cheap and they'll equate subconsciously cheap to low quality, which isn't true, but that particular customer's mindset is going to be like that. So you need to be really kind of aware.
Yeah, exactly. So if you haven't already done it, give it a go. If you have already got your ideal customer in your head, then tell us about them.
Yeah,
pop it in the comments below the video.
Yeah, and that would be awesome, because you never know, the people in the group, you might have a Linda or Marjorie or George in the group, or part of the group will know of a Linda, Marjorie or George and will point them in your direction. So yeah,
names subject to change. Depending on
my next client wants a commission and they're called Marjorie. The first thing I'm going to do is post in this group.
Right, so that was basically what we kind of covered last week.
Yes.
Moving on to this week, kind of from tomorrow, we're going to be kind of like we said a couple of weeks ago, we are slowly building up all the aspects to building your price and everything, and so that's where we're at the moment.
We have a people pleaser comment. Hello. You are, but yes, I totally get that. It's really difficult stepping away and stopping trying to please everybody. Really difficult.
It is. It's not easy. I'm trying to do it at the moment. I've made a deliberate decision at the moment that until the new year, I'm not taking on any new customers. And it is really difficult when somebody rings me up, and I do struggle to say no. and I did manage to say no to somebody last week.
Well done.
I have got to think about my own workload and not overload myself.
Yes.
Christmas is coming, the end of the tax year is creeping up so quickly, and I still have a pile of tax returns to get through before then. So adding more to my workload is just not sensible.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm having to make myself say no, even though I really don't want to. So we got another comment. Yes, definitely. I think everybody does it. Flip between everyone being my customer and being quite too specific. Yeah, you need to try
it'll be interesting to see how you mean by too specific, because I suspect you might not be being too specific. Unless you're only selling to Marjorie and nobody else, you'll probably find that it's you're probably not. You think you are.
Yeah.
I've yet to find anyone who does. It is too specific.
If you're happy enough to pop it in the comments, just pop it in the comments and we'll take a look for you.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So anyway, so this week's theme, we're moving on to sort of how you source your materials.
Yes.
So where do you get your materials from? Do you just search for the cheapest materials online? Are you trying to go for bespoke materials? How much are you paying for them? Do you have trade accounts? Have you asked for discounts? This is the start of putting your costs together to work out your price.
And really looking at where you can make amend. I had a breakthrough this week, actually, which I've not told you about, actually, Louise. My boxes are profitable, but only just, given that I give most of my profit margin away. So I've been looking at how I can keep the price bracket around the same, but reduce the item costs. Now, I have a thing about everything I want absolute top notch. So I've got some pastel blenders in some of my kits, and they're Faber-Castell pastel blenders, and I've also got some Derwent pastel blenders, but they're actually no better than my non-brand blenders, and the non-brand blenders are a third of the price.
That's quite a difference.
It is a big difference, and I was really wrestling with myself because I've been using the ones I put in the kits, and I'm there thinking I'm not seeing the 2/3 difference in quality. So on that instance, I've decided to stop getting those, and that will help. It will help my profit margin, because I am not going to just give it away.
With your husband's voice in your
I am. I absolutely. Although, sorry, I've dropped a ball of mohair. Although I do want to look at using more photographers and things and getting a portfolio of other creatives, but that's beside the point. But yes, looking at where you're sourcing.
So it's looking, for instance, say you make clothes, some fabric, for instance, just kind of different subject than art.
Yes.
So obviously it's where do you source your material from? Are you just looking at retail shops online? And if you are, which is absolutely fine, but are you getting the best price? Have you one thing you can do is ring around everywhere that you do source your materials from and ask them, how much would I have to buy to be able to get it at wholesale price? As a starter. And if they should tell you. And then with fabric, it may be that you have to buy quite a large amount to be able to get a wholesale cost, and it'll be a large amount of one product, which may or may not work for you. So if that doesn't work, there's more questions you can ask.
Absolutely.
So it's, okay, I can't really justify buying that much material at the moment. I'm a growing business. Lay it on really thick. You're a new business, you're a growing business. You want to work with them. What can you offer me? Will you give me a discount if I buy X amount of material across 5 different patterns or something? And see what they say.
The worst that can happen is they'll say no. Well,
Exactly. So if you've got a few suppliers that you use, go to each and every single one of them
Mm.
and ask them the same question.
Yeah.
You'll find some will give you more of a discount than others. And one thing you can do is if you get a pretty good discount from one of them, is go back, if you've got a more preferred supplier, is go back to that preferred supplier and tell them,
Mm.
well, I've just spoken to such and such and they're willing to give me this discount, but I'd much rather work with you. Would you be happy to match the discount?
Be very careful when you do that, though. Make sure that it is a discount that you genuinely been offered. Do not lie.
Don't lie. You'll probably find that these suppliers all know each other.
Yeah, and they'll talk.
Yes, they do. They will talk. So don't lie. If you've got a genuine offer, then play them off against each other.
Yeah. And if it's something like a big brand that you use, like I don't know, going off the art subject, Rowan yarn, for example, because I happen to be knitting with some of the stuff, and you always get it through a local supplier or whatever, go to Rowan yarn, ask them directly, do you do wholesale to small people, supporting small businesses? If so, what can you offer me? If not, or if you prefer to support local small businesses, that's actually part of your UPS. You can raise your prices and say, I'm supporting local businesses by paying them what they deserve. And that's another way of actually increasing your value in your product.
Yeah. And if you can use local businesses, especially at
especially around now.
Yeah, exactly, at this moment in time, then all small businesses need support. So use it as your USP.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people out there that want to buy from small businesses, especially at the moment. As I keep saying to Sue, I'm slowly working my way through this group to get some Christmas present ideas. So I think the majority, I have quite a list. So I think the majority of my Christmas shopping will be done via this group, I think, because there are some amazing products.
Oh my gosh, you guys are absolutely, I'm in awe of so many of the things that you guys do. It's just phenomenal. Love it.
Exactly. So, I've got a one-stop shop. I'm all sorted this Christmas. And I'm one of those people that if it's good quality, I will pay for it. I'm happy to pay for it. And it means I'm supporting small businesses as well.
Yeah. And there are other people who think exactly the same thing as you.
Exactly. So sourcing your materials is a real place to start, because if you get your materials costs wrong, then that will have a massive effect on your profit, just as Sue with parts of the passport of the kits and everything. Prime example. I know we've had a couple of comments. I don't know who.
Yes, you can see me peering at the corner.
We've got a comment. I'm not sure who it is because it just says Facebook user our end. I stick to a quality I like, but it's the same place everyone in my line of work goes to, so it's not unique or upmarket. So quality is good, but limited and not unique.
But if you like it and you're comfortable, that's fine. There's lots of different areas that you can look at where you can save costs or ask for discounts. It doesn't necessarily need to be in your main materials, because I've done it on packaging. So it's
absolutely. So if everybody goes there, that's fine, but also it's still worth asking the question, because they might have not asked for that wholesale or discount offers.
Absolutely.
So I would still
sorry, just reading Liesel's comment about her specific customer. So I understand where you're coming from now, Liesel. Actually, yes, it's not too specific, it is misaligned, and that's a whole different conversation. You need to be aiming for conservation style people who are wanting to champion that rather than working in it necessarily. So that's something else that we can just tweak.
Absolutely. So materials is the theme for this week. And I'm trying to think what we've got coming up. I know I don't want to spoil too much. I know there would should be a blog coming up on Thursday that Sue looks completely blank about.
Yes, there will be. I have written it down. Where's my notebook?
You dropped me in it in the last live, so
I know. I'm always doing that.
I think it's about sourcing materials and getting the best deal.
Yes, I've written it down here. Sourcing material blog. I've even put a star.
Oh, yeah.
Not looked at it since, but I've put a star by it, which means that I will. Oh yes, I've also looked at 80% of. Oh yes, lots of things on there actually that I was scribbling away on our last meeting. So I'll get that written.
Yeah, so keep an eye out. Again, it'll probably cover a lot of things we've had a chat about tonight and everything.
Probably, yes.
But this is the starting point. You know, hopefully you'll have worked through the hourly rate. I did upload the spreadsheet to the group, I think towards the end of last week. So you can enter all your figures into that spreadsheet and it'll calculate it all for you and see where you get with that. So if you haven't already done that, please try and give it a go.
Yes, and look at.
If you really are struggling, then please just ask.
Reach out.
Please just ask us for help, and we'll be more than happy to do that.
Because the thing about the materials thing for next week is you need to have done all the work on exactly how much goes in your product.
Yeah.
Because then we can talk about where we can start looking at reducing costs and increasing prices. But you need to know your numbers. You need to know your starting point. You need to know where you are now. Yeah. And then we can start looking at improving the situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's looking at everything. So it's looking at your materials, like Sue said, your packaging, if you use packaging within your products, is looking at all aspects of it. You know, what are you currently paying? Can you get it cheaper? And if your current supplier is standing fast and is refusing point blank to give it to you any cheaper, can you get the same quality somewhere else from somebody that is willing to give you that discount?
Or can you collaborate? That's the other aspect.
That's the other option,
There's lots of people in this group and lots of creatives. I'm just had a brainwave on the, which is 2 collaboration brainwaves. One is on packaging style of things. If you've got, say, all my boxes are large letter. So I know that I need to buy more than 200 boxes to get even the smallest of discount. If I want a decent discount, I need to buy about 1,000. Hopefully I will go through 1,000 in a week. However, the likelihood is it's going to take at least a year, maybe more, and I haven't got the room. However, if there are 5 other people who are also packaging things out in a large letter box, get the 1,000, divvy them up between all of you, and you all get a discount.
Yeah.
So that's one way to collaborate and lower your costs on those things that are standard. And the other aspect is collaborate. If it's a small supplier, especially, collaborate with them and say, okay, how about I advertise you in return for a small discount?
Yeah.
And there's other ways of working things. So
there is ways. There's lots of ways around it. And it's worth just giving any of them a go. Like you said, if you can keep your costs as low as they can be, then obviously ultimately that's going to have a better outlook for your profit figure at the end of it. So we are slowly building up to you having basically all your eggs in a row, or your ducks in a row, isn't it?
Ducks in a row,
eggs in the basket, ducks in a row. You can tell it's been a long day. However, ducks in a row, all the holes in the cheese will line up, whichever metaphor you want to use.
Your IKEA furniture will come together beautifully.
Won't be a single screw missing. So this is our starting point. So obviously the last few weeks we've been talking about hourly rates and what you should be charging for your time. This week is looking at your materials costs, your packaging costs and everything. And then we're slowly building up to actually looking. And we will eventually probably get you, I think, to take one of your products and follow it through. And actually start it from blank and think of it as a brand new product, and we'll work through it over the next few weeks. And some of you might be really happy with where that turns out. Some of you might be pleasantly surprised, or some of you might get quite a big shock.
And the thing is, if it comes out that what you're doing isn't viable, chat. Don't go, oh my God, I can't do this. There may be other ways of looking at it. There may be other questions that aren't necessarily directly to do with straight costs and marketing. So don't be disheartened, but you do know where you start.
When it comes to materials as well, networking helps. I mean, there might be somebody in this group that might have a contact for you, might be able to help if you're not sure, if you're looking for something specific, you know, you can ask in this group, or if you're part of any other groups, is ask. And
always ask questions, because most people will want to help you.
Yeah.
Most people work on a collaboration basis and just want to help everybody out. There's very few people out there that are deliberately obstructive.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and yeah, if the worst can happen is that they don't help you, or they say no, or they just ignore you, in which case move on.
Yeah. And obviously last week Sue and I had our first calls with our 2 case studies as well. So we've kicked those off, so we will keep you updated on that. We have no further updates on the app at the moment.
No,
we are still waiting to hear back from the university, but as soon as we hear something and we've had another meeting with them, we will update you. Hopefully we'll have an update in the in a couple of weeks when we do our next live.
Yes, that would be good.
If we get it before then, we can pop something in the group. So we are moving there bit by bit.
And I will post a picture of the finished jumper next week.
Yes. I want to see how it turns out now.
So do I. This is the first Christmas jumper I've ever designed. So there's some features I've never done before. So this is going to be exciting.
It's better than I can do. Scarves and hats about my as far as I can go with knitting. So we'll leave it there for this week. We've gone on a bit longer than probably originally planned, like we usually do.
Just gassing, really. It's nice to have the engagement, actually, so thank you all for taking part.
Yeah, we've had absolutely amazing engagement tonight, so thank you all. As I said, if you do watch any in the future, I think there's a link just above the video that you can click on, and it gives StreamYard access to Facebook, where when you make a comment we can then see your name.
Yeah. Or if you'd rather just remain anonymous, that's absolutely
fine. But anyway, we will be back live. Oh,
that's sweet.
Thank you. I don't know who you are. We'll find out when I log on to Facebook after. Thank you very much. As I said, we hope you are all enjoying the group. We know it's not an easy subject to talk about. No. We are trying. We're here to help as much as we possibly can.
Yes.
So we will say good night. There obviously will be plenty of posts coming up and engagement throughout the week, and we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, I'm going to go and write a blog now.
That's payback.
Yeah, it's fine.
Right, guys, we will see you all in a couple of weeks.
Okay, bye.
Bye.